She makes $104,000 a year. Last Tuesday, she transferred $200 from her savings account to cover rent. Her name is Maya. She's 31. She has a graduate degree, a job title that sounds impressive at dinner parties, and a leased Audi she tells herself she deserves. She eats out 4 nights a week because after a 10-hour workday, cooking feels impossible. She takes one real vacation a year and puts half of it on a credit card she's been carrying a balance on since 2023. Maya is not irresponsible. She is not reckless. She is not addicted to anything. She is not gambling. She is not making obvious mistakes. She is simply never, ever ahead. Now meet Diane. Diane makes $44,000 a year. She drives a 2017 Honda she bought used with cash. She brings lunch to work 3 days a week. Her apartment is 20 minutes outside the city, which means her commute is longer, but her rent is $400 less per month. She has $23,000 in savings and invests $400 every single month without thinking about it, because it moves automatically the morning after her paycheck lands. Diane does not stress about money. Same city. One earns more than twice as much as the other. One has almost nothing. One is quietly building something real. This is not a story about luck. It is not a story about income. It is a story about a trap that catches high earners so quietly, so gradually, so completely, that most of them never even realize they walked into it. It has a name. It is called the income illusion trap. And according to a 2025 Goldman Sachs report, 41% of Americans earning between $300,000 and $500,000 are living it right now. Not Maya's income. 5 times Maya's income. Paycheck to paycheck. Read that again. 4 out of 10 people earning $500,000 a year have no financial cushion. They earn more in a single month than many Americans earn in an entire year. And they are one unexpected bill away from a very uncomfortable conversation with their bank. If that number surprises you, you don't yet understand how the trap works. By the end of this video, you will. Here is the question nobody asks out loud, but almost everyone earning a good salary has quietly wondered in a parking lot or a bathroom or at 2 a.m. when the brain won't stop running numbers. Why don't I have more to show for this? You worked for years to get here. You negotiated. You have the degree, put in the hours, or both. You hit the number you always said would change things. And something changed, just not the thing you expected. The financial anxiety didn't disappear. It just got more expensive. The $45,000 earner, who is somehow more financially stable than you, is not smarter. They did not get lucky. They did not inherit anything. They do not have a secret income stream you don't know about. They made one decision differently, and they made it before the money felt normal. That decision lives inside a psychological mechanism that most people never identify in themselves. A mechanism that financial advisors rarely discuss, because understanding it requires admitting something deeply uncomfortable about how our brains respond to income. Here is what we are going to cover: the 3 invisible layers of the income illusion trap. Why does each one get harder to escape the longer it goes untreated? The exact math of what this trap costs over a decade. And 3 specific, practical routes out, starting with something you can do before this video ends. Let's start with the first layer, and I want you to pay attention here, because this one is operating on you right now, whether you recognize it or not. Lifestyle inflation. You have heard this term before. You probably nodded along when someone explained it, thought, yes, that makes sense, and then went back to living exactly the same way. That's because understanding lifestyle inflation intellectually and actually seeing it operate in your own spending are 2 completely different experiences. Here is how it actually works. When you were earning $48,000, a $12 lunch felt slightly indulgent. When you started earning $75,000, a $12 lunch became normal. and a $22 lunch felt slightly indulgent. When you crossed $100,000, a $22 lunch became normal, and a $40 lunch at the nice place near the office became the occasional treat that you absolutely deserve because you work hard and money isn't as tight as it used to be. That progression happened so gradually, you never felt it happening. Each step seemed reasonable. Each upgrade felt earned. None of it felt like a mistake. All of it compounded into a lifestyle that now requires your full income to maintain. This is the invisible thief. It does not steal from you in one dramatic moment. It takes a little every time your income goes up. And by the time you notice, your entire raise has already been absorbed into expenses that now feel non-negotiable. The research on this is striking. A 2025 PIMT study found that 48% of Americans earning $100,000 or more report living paycheck to paycheck. Among those earning over $200,000, 36% say the same. And here's the number that should stop you cold. Americans earning $100,000 annually are in some income brackets more likely to report financial strain than those earning $50,000. More money, more stress, not less. That is not a coincidence. That is lifestyle inflation doing exactly what it does, expanding silently to fill every dollar of additional income before that income ever gets a chance to become wealth. Maya has lived this pattern for 4 years. Every raise went somewhere. The apartment upgrade after the first promotion. The car lease is after the second one. The gym membership, the meal kit subscription, the streaming services, and the weekend trips felt modest in the moment but added up across a year. Each decision made perfect sense. Together, they built a life that costs exactly what she makes, which means one missed paycheck and the whole thing wobbles. But lifestyle inflation is only the first layer. The second one is harder to escape because by the time it traps you, you've already signed contracts. The fixed cost trap. Here is what separates the income illusion trap from ordinary overspending. Ordinary overspending is fixable. You stop buying things you don't need and you redirect that money. Problem solved. The fixed cost trap is different. It is not about things you buy. It is about the commitments you signed. When you earn $50,000, lenders will approve you for a mortgage that fits a $50,000 income. When you earn $150,000, lenders will approve you for a mortgage that stretches a $150,000 income just as thin, but involves dramatically larger numbers. The math feels different. The squeeze feels identical. This is the golden cage. High earners qualify for expensive problems. Think about what the average high-earning household carries in fixed monthly commitments. Mortgage or rent payments that represent the ceiling of what they qualified for rather than a comfortable portion of what they earn. Car payments because the practical sedan got upgraded when the salary increased, and the luxury model seemed reasonable at the new income level. Private school tuition for children is a decision that felt like investing in their future, which is exactly what it is, but also one that now functions like a bill that cannot be reduced without feeling like a failure. Gym memberships, streaming packages, software subscriptions, and insurance premiums on the nicer car and the bigger home. Club memberships that sounded like networking became fixed overhead. The average new car loan payment reached $738 per month in late 2025, according to Edmunds. The average monthly mortgage payment for recent buyers in most major markets exceeds $2,400. Add the rest of the fixed cost ecosystem, and many households earning six figures have committed $5,000 to $7,000 monthly before they have bought a single coffee or paid a single utility bill. That is not lavish living. That is just the fixed cost of the life they built incrementally, one reasonable decision at a time. And here is the cruelest part of the golden cage. Once you are inside it, Every bar costs money to remove. Pulling your child from private school feels like deprivation, not a financial correction. Downgrading the car feels like a public admission that something went wrong. Moving to a smaller apartment feels like going backward. The lifestyle has become an identity, and attacking the lifestyle feels like attacking yourself. Diane never built the cage. Her fixed costs are deliberately small, which means when she wants to redirect money towards savings, nothing resists. There is no contract standing between her intention and her bank account. Maya's intention to save more runs directly into $6,200 of monthly fixed commitments before she has eaten a single meal. Lifestyle inflation built the walls. The fixed cost trap built the bars. But neither of those is what makes this trap so persistent. That is the third layer, and it is the one that keeps the cage locked. When Maya got her first $100,000 salary, she felt successful for approximately 3 weeks. Then she started noticing things. Her colleague drove a newer car. Her friend from grad school bought a house in a neighborhood Maya could not afford. Someone she follows on Instagram posted a vacation that made her own annual trip feel ordinary. Another colleague mentioned a restaurant that costs more than Maya's weekly grocery budget, casually, the way you mention grabbing a coffee. Maya's reference group shifted the moment her income shifted. She stopped comparing herself to people earning $60,000 and started comparing herself to people earning $150,000. And suddenly $100,000 felt inadequate. This is the comparison acceleration effect, and it is not a character flaw. It is a documented psychological phenomenon that operates more powerfully at higher incomes because the visibility of wealth increases alongside earning potential. The Goldman Sachs 2025 report cited peer comparison explicitly as a primary driver of paycheck-to-paycheck living among six-figure earners. People earning top 10% incomes were experiencing financial stress because they were benchmarking against the top 1% or against carefully curated social media profiles of people who, in many cases, were even more financially stretched than they were. Social media changed comparison in one specific way that makes this worse than it has ever been before. It used to be that you compared yourself to the people physically around you, your neighbors, your coworkers, your family. Now you compare yourself to everyone visible in your feed. People are optimizing their highlight reel from 50 different cities. People who look wealthy because they spent money performing wealth rather than building it. You are not comparing yourself to real people. You are comparing yourself to a financial performance. And you are adjusting your spending to keep up with a fiction. Diane has almost no exposure to this mechanism. Her reference group is from 12 months ago. The only question she measures herself against is whether her savings rate is higher than it was last year. Most years, it is. That single shift in comparison target is worth more than a $30,000 salary increase. Let me show you what this costs. Not emotionally, financially, in actual dollars over an actual timeline. Maya earns $104,000. Her effective savings rate is 0%. She saves nothing net after expenses. In 10 years at this rate, assuming modest investment returns on zero invested dollars, Maya has zero investment growth. She has a decade of good income and a lifestyle that consumed every dollar of it. Now apply a 10% savings rate to Maya's income. That is $10,400 per year. Invested at 8% average annual return over 20 years, that becomes approximately $509,000. A 15% savings rate, $15,600 per year, becomes over $763,000 over the same period. Maya does not need a raise. Maya needs a percentage point commitment. Now look at Diane. She earns $44,000. She saves 10.9% of her income, which is $400 per month. Over 20 years at 8% returns, Diane accumulates approximately $235,000. Maya earns dollars with a 0% savings rate and Diane earns $44,000 with a 10.9% savings rate. After 20 years, Diane has nearly $250,000, and Maya has whatever is in her checking account on payday. Income did not determine that outcome. Percentage determined it. This is the number that changes everything once you truly understand it. Not how much you earn. What percentage of what you earn do you keep? That is the only honest measurement of whether your income is building anything or simply funding a lifestyle that requires itself to continue. There are 3 ways out of the income illusion trap. They are not complicated. They are not painful, but they require doing something that the trap is specifically designed to prevent. They require you to look directly at the numbers without flinching. Escape route 1. Stop measuring savings in dollars. Start measuring in percentages. This is the single most important reframe in this entire video. When Maya tells herself she will start saving once she has a little more breathing room, she is measuring in dollars. The dollar amount always feels just slightly out of reach because lifestyle inflation ensures the breathing room never arrives. When you measure in percentages, the math becomes unavoidable. A 10% savings rate on $104,000 is $10,400 per year. That is $866 per month. That is not a luxury. That is a decision. And every month that decision does not get made is a month of compounding that is gone permanently. The target percentage is not complicated. Financial researchers studying actual millionaire behavior consistently find that people who build substantial wealth save a minimum of 15% of income before paying for anything else. Not after expenses, before. The first transfer is to savings. Everything else is funded with what remains. Automate that transfer. Make it happen the morning after your paycheck lands. Make it move to an account that requires effort to access. Make the saving automatic and the spending deliberate rather than the other way around. If 15% feels impossible right now, start with 5% this month. Increase by 1% every 90 days. Within 2 years, you are at the target without ever experiencing a dramatic reduction in what you have available to spend. Your lifestyle adjusts to what remains because it always does. That is the same mechanism that caused the trap. Now it works in your favor. Escape route 2. Conduct one fixed cost audit per year. Once annually, print or open every recurring charge hitting your accounts. Not the discretionary spending, the fixed costs, the subscriptions, memberships, insurance policies, payment plans, and automatic renewals. For each one, ask a single question. Would I sign up for this today if I saw it as a full annual cost rather than a monthly line item? Most people find charges they forgot existed. They used the services for 3 months and kept paying for 2 years. Memberships that made sense at a previous stage of life now provide almost nothing. Subscriptions that duplicated each other. The average person who does this exercise finds between $150 and $400 per month in charges that would not survive the question. That is $1,800 to $4,800 per year. Redirected to investments at 8% over 20 years, $300 per month becomes $178,000. The cage has a door. The audit finds it. Escape route 3. Redefine your reference group. This one is psychological rather than financial, which makes it both the hardest and the most powerful of the 3. You cannot outrun comparison by earning more. The research is unambiguous on this point. Every income increase shifts the reference group upward. No salary puts you above the comparison mechanism because the mechanism is not about money. It is about identity. It is about who you measure yourself against to determine whether you are doing well. The only comparison that builds wealth is the one you run against your past self. One number, one measurement. Is my savings rate higher than it was 12 months ago? If yes, you are winning. It does not matter what your colleague drives. It does not matter what the Instagram version of success looks like this week. It does not matter that someone you know just bought a house in a neighborhood you cannot afford. Your metric and their metric are different games. You are playing the one that ends with financial freedom. They may or may not be playing that game at all. Diane never compares herself to Maya. She probably does not know Maya exists. She is too focused on the only number that tracks her actual progress. Here is the truth underneath all of this. Maya and Diane are not in different financial situations because of their paychecks. They are in different situations because of what they believe the paycheck is for. Maya, like most high earners caught in the income illusion trap, believes income is for maintaining a life that looks successful. The apartment, the car, the restaurants, the vacations. These are not frivolous to her. They are evidence that the work paid off. They are the visible return on years of effort. Diane believes income is for building a life that is secure. The Honda is transportation. The apartment outside the city is a shelter. The $400 monthly investment is the only purchase that keeps paying her back. Neither belief is wrong as a value, but only one of them is a compound. And here is what the financial industry rarely acknowledges. The psychological need driving Maya's spending is real. It is not vanity. It is not stupidity. Most high-level consumer spending at the income illusion level is driven by a quiet, persistent anxiety about whether the success is real, about whether it will last, about whether the person underneath the salary and the title and the leased car is actually as capable and worthy as the paycheck suggests. The spending is not the cause of that anxiety. The spending is the symptom of it. The cure is not more income. More income feeds the symptom. The cure is the 14 months of savings sitting in Diane's account. The cure is the investment balance that grows whether she checks it or not. The cure is the financial margin that makes an unexpected $3,000 expense feel like an inconvenience rather than a crisis. Security does not feel like the car. Security feels like knowing you could go 3 months without a paycheck and nothing catastrophic would happen. That feeling is what the percentage builds, slowly, invisibly, and then suddenly, all at once. Maya transferred $200 from savings last Tuesday to cover rent. She made $104,000 last year. That transfer was not a financial failure. It was the symptom of a trap that nobody warned her about when the raises started arriving. A trap designed to feel like success while quietly consuming every dollar of it. The trap is not permanent. The exit does not require a different salary. It requires a different percentage, a different reference point, a different understanding of what the money is actually for. Diane knows what her money is for. The question is not whether you can afford to make the same shift. The question is whether you can afford another year of not